Capture Commission of Inquiry has heard that the State Security Agency has paid between 100,000 Rand and 200,000 Rand a month for apartheid assassin Eugene de Kock's upkeep, including a salary of 40,000 Rand per month. This was revealed by a secret witness, Ms. K, who wrapped up her damning testimony on the SSA. Now, for more reaction on the story, I'm joined by UDM leader Bantu Holomisa. Mr. Holomisa, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Shocking revelations that we learnt and heard of when it comes to the role that the ANC government played in the upkeeping of Eugene de Kock. Were you as shocked as the rest of us are?
No, I was not shocked. I got a tip-off from one of the cadres who were trained in Angola for 2014-16 election. That individual was sent by the state intelligence. He came to my office to complain that, one, they have been trained, but they are not being absorbed into the establishment. Two, that they are not given enough money to look after themselves. Three, that they have been assigned to guard de Kock, who was just recently been released from jail, and that de Kock was staying somewhere in the east of Pretoria, in a luxurious house, earning thousands of rands. What embarrassed them was that he is now, when they look for food, they had to ask him to pay them some money in order to buy food. So I'm not surprised, and I reported the matter at the time, the complaint itself. I'm not sure which minister, I think it must have been Mahlobo, if I'm not mistaken. So you must also remember that I was serving in the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence between 2015 up to 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 2019. All what you have more or less heard about from the testimonies of the witnesses, I can guarantee you that 70 to 80% of what I've heard over the radio and TV, we were briefed about those issues. And when we asked for answers, the ministers wouldn't want to come and brief us, and the DG in particular, Mr. Fraser. The Inspector General of the Intelligence also revealed some of these things, nauseating stories you are hearing. And again, we call the ministers and to take action, including the 17 million rands which were stolen in their offices. But the people who stole that money were identified, and they were still working. They are still working even today. One of them was working at the presidency at one stage under President Zuma. So I'm not surprised, therefore, that these things are coming out. And but what steps did we take? That's the question as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence. We immediately, when President Cyril Ramaphosa was appointed, he was hardly a day or two in his office. We went to brief him, and we said, all is not well there. It's rotten to the core. Here are the reports. Please do something, appoint someone or a committee to look into this or investigate it. Hence, he opted to have the Mafumadi panel committee. So that's it. It's rotten, and it's clear that all the government institutions in this country have been used to channel funds back to Luthuli House for party coffers purposes. We were here when the money, billions of the Correctional Services, Department of Correctional Services, were channeled through bogus companies like Bosasa back to Lutule House to fund their rallies. All these wins they have been having now during elections is clear what they have been doing.
Now, an apartheid era policeman, some people who were directly affected here and many indirectly, but still feeling the effects of apartheid are sometimes, some may be heartbroken because they lost relatives who disappeared mysteriously and others who just never came back and were killed in the most horrific ways. What do you imagine then that the reasons for this expenditure, taxpayers footing the bill for de Kock's accommodation, will then be when this matter is addressed by those who are being questioned?
Well, let's leave that to the chairperson of the commission, CJ Zondo, and together with those who were in charge at the time. But it is unacceptable what they have done. And especially a person like me, because I survived from the assassination plots which were orchestrated by de Kock. Hence, he went to the TRC to ask to be pardoned. And we were asked whether we endorsed that. We had no choice at the time. We endorsed it. For him now to live like a king after he killed so many people, it begs a question as to who are these leaders who are leading us today.
If one had to really just try and think beyond what you've just spoken to, Mr. Holomisa, speaking about perhaps money being a central part of this conversation, could one say that this may have well been an oversight, or perhaps that he was being used in a different role as a double operative? Or is that too far-fetched?
The truth of the matter here is that if you go to these corridors of power, like union buildings, it's easy to bump to the former head of national intelligence in this country under the National Party, Neil Barnard. So you can ask yourself as to what business is he doing with the government of the ANC. So I'm not surprised, therefore, that the de Kocks of this world could also be being paid for whatever job they are doing. I don't know. Judge Zondo must dig deep. This thing is deep.
Where does it leave us? Where does it leave us as a country? I mean, there's a lot of question marks now, and especially the reasons for this expenditure were not revealed by the anonymous witness, Ms. K.
Well, the question of the money spent at the Department of Intelligence Services, you haven't seen anything. You are still going to hear more and more nauseating stories. The proof is that the documents are there, that on such and such a date, so much money was paid, such and such a date, so and so took money away. All that information, that's why we said to the president on his second day in office, President Cyril Ramaphosa, that please, whatever you are going to do in this country, just remove that DG and then continue with the investigation of the intelligence. What role should the intelligence play in this country? Because that one, it belongs to a political party or to a leadership, a particular leader.
Thank you so much for your time. We're going to have to leave it now there. UDM leader Bantu Holomisa saying that he wasn't shocked by the revelations that came out of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry when it comes to apartheid killer Eugene de Kock, learning from that inquiry that the State Security Agency bankrolled the apartheid killer. Of course,